This is the poison that comes from the mainstream media. Yes. Have lost the ability, Paul, to think for themselves, to reason for themselves, to do their own research. I'm going to put on CNN. I'm going to watch it. And whatever they tell me is exactly what's going on. Trump committed felonies. Letitia James. Trump, how about that? Trump's going to go to jail when he gets found guilty. Are you paying attention? It's a civil trial. Are you paying attention? They brought him up on real estate charges. Real estate charges. There's no crime committed. You got
there's no victim. There's no victim. We were talking about before how CCRB will look in the cop's camera and self-generate a victim or a complainant. That's exactly what Letitia James did. She actually went to the banks and asked them to sign on. You know as well as I do, any court case, you have a defendant and you have the person suing. If it's a civil case, you have the one party suing and the person they're suing against. In the criminal case, you have the defendant and you have usually the state, especially in a drug deal, right? PSNY, we used to write that all the time. Here, Letitia James went to the banks and said, "You've been defrauded," which is what the left loves to do. They love to tell people they're victims, even when they're not. And the bank said, "No, we haven't. We got all our money. We competed for his business. This is great." And then those people on the banks testified on Trump's behalf. It didn't matter. You have this crooked judge. She ran on it, even though she said that she didn't. And she's right up there. Actually, I think she might be worse than Bragg, because Bragg is the DA of only one borough. People don't realize Bragg is a Manhattan DA. He has nothing to do with Queens or any of the other boroughs. James is the attorney general of the state.
Sure. She's the chief law enforcement officer of one of the largest states in the nation, New York State.
And she's going after Trump. I want to show you something, because she says that she was not campaigning on going after Trump.
Sure.
And I want to prove to you, well, I'm sure you see this. This is, let's see if you can see this if I pull this up. This is what she said before she got elected.
The president of the United States has complained that I'm engaging in some sort of political witch hunt, that I've got some personal vendetta against him, that I campaigned against him. That is not true.
Will you sue him for us?
Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the He's going to know my name personally.
I look forward to going into the office of Attorney General every day, suing him, defending your rights, and then going home.
Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho.
We've got to get ready to agitate and irritate until victory is won, but more importantly, until Trump is defeated.
Lock him up. Lock him up. What? Lock him up. What? Lock him up. What? Lock him up. And ultimately, we'll bring him down.
So that's her swearing.
Well, you have the attorney general. You have the attorney general who knows what she's saying is wrong. She's holding a bullhorn saying what? And the crowd says, lock him up. And she says, what? And the crowd says, lock him up. She knows that what she's engaged in, even if she pulls it off, is not a crime. He's not going to jail. So why are you whipping this crowd into some feverish belief that he's going to jail? Never once did she shut them down and say, whoa, 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 whoa. No, let me correct myself here. Should we convict him on what I'm going to bring him up on, there's no jail. No, lock him up. What? So these are the people that believe he's committed felonies. Why? Because the people they follow in the positions of power are telling them he's committed felonies. What are they saying? That he embellished the value of his portfolio? Everybody in the world, when they sell their house, hires a real estate agent. The real estate agent says, well, I've run comps in your neighborhood. Houses, the estimate is $840. I say we list it for $9 and see what happens. Happens. And then you say, okay, great. Have you committed a crime because you've overvalued the estimates in the neighborhood? You've overvalued your property. What if somebody knocks on your door and says, I love your house, I'm taking it for $900? Have you committed a crime because everything came in at 8:40? No, you took a shot. You took a shot in the dark, and if nobody comes in for 9, then you adjust it. But this guy, like you said, they asked the banks. They told the banks they were defrauded. Banks said we weren't defrauded. This is like watching People's Court, and seeing somebody suing and an empty bench or an empty table for the defendant because there's no crime committed. But you're going to watch that on TV. You're going to watch somebody try to sell you that they've been wronged, or not opposite. You know, a defendant is there and he's telling you that, but there's an empty chair, because you need two parties. You need somebody who's done something wrong and somebody who's been wronged to have a case, whether it's civil or criminal. You need two parties. They didn't have the second party. This judge, and not only that, the fine, even if Trump was fined, the fine's illegal. It's in the Constitution. You cannot arbitrarily over fine somebody. It doesn't fit the crime. This is like giving somebody life in jail for jaywalking. The penalty doesn't fit the crime. If you go to jail, I mean, if you go to a court case because you didn't pay a parking meter, and you say, all right, I'm here to pay the $15 plus the $20 fine, and they say, nah, you're going to jail for 15 years, you can appeal that in 3 seconds. 3 seconds. You're going to take that to an appellate court. They're going to say, what's up? I got 15 years for not paying a parking summons. No, you didn't. Pay your $15. You're out of here. That's what's going to happen here. And it's just going to be another case where the liberals cry so hard because Trump's appeal is going to be successful.
You know what? It's one of the things we spoke about before was it's not just who's in the White House, but it's the local DA, the local sheriff, the local mayor, the governors. The corruption is so deep. And when you look at Bragg, Letitia, Fannie Willis, who's the other? Jack Smith, the prosecutor. If you look at the affidavits and the stuff that's presented from her prosecuting Biden and Jack Smith going after Trump, you would think like Trump committed murder. And a lot of people, like you were saying, a lot of people in New York think like, yeah, lock him up for a civil issue. I want to play you Letitia James. I want to show you her reaction after they gave him the corporate death sentence, $450 million. Let me see if I can pull this up.
Donald Trump engaged in deceptive business practices and tremendous fraud. Donald Trump falsely, knowingly inflated his net worth by billions of dollars to unjustly enrich himself, his family, and to cheat the system. Donald Trump may have authored the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal. This long-running fraud was intentional, egregious, illegal, and he did all of this with the help of the other defendants, his 2 adult sons and senior executives at the Trump Organization. And so, after 11 weeks of trial, we showed the staggering extent of his fraud and exactly how Donald Trump and the other defendants deceived banks, insurance companies, and other financial institutions for their own personal gain. We proved just how much Donald Trump, his family, and his company unjustly benefited from his fraud.
That's the press conference of a cult leader. That's the press conference of somebody so deranged that they're making their minions believe that they've put in jail the largest drug trafficker in the history of the world. That's a toxic press conference. It's full of anger. It's the furthest thing, I believe, from professionalism. But then again, from the beginning, before Letitia James was elected Attorney General for New York State, sadly, she ran on a campaign on a platform of going to get Trump. Could you imagine in the state of New York, with the amount of crime that this state sees, the city of New York, the amount of crime that the city of New York sees, that people actually got behind Letitia James and her platform of I'm going to get Trump. That was their concern. She didn't get him. Now her minions and the cult that she delivered to, they think that Trump has been gotten. But we all know, the people that pay attention know that the trial didn't have a jury. It had a very jaded and partisan judge. Everybody knew from the beginning that he did not stand a chance, not a snowball's chance in hell, of coming out of this trial. It wasn't a trial, it was a kangaroo court. He had no chance of coming out of this trial unscathed. The writing was on the wall from day one. This is a fix. The fix is in. And I believe that when he appeals, and of course the appeal has to go to the New York State Court of Appeals because this case is in New York State, and I don't put anything past the judicial system of New York State. I don't put anything past their inability to really see the facts and judge a person. You know, justice is blindly judge a person. I hope that the Court of Appeals in New York State is going to see the lunacy of this and overturn it. But the fact of the matter is that he has to pony up $450 million right now within the next 30 days to even file his appeal.
Right.
He has to pony up $450 million cash that's going to be held in escrow before he can even file his appeal. So, yeah, listen, Trump can act like there's not a lot of damage done to him. Trump can act like, there's no chink in the armor, but that's tough. That's difficult. I don't care who anybody is. I hope he's able to pony up the $450 million, and I hope he's able to move this forward on the appeal.
Well, she said that if he doesn't have the cash, I think he has 30 days, that she's going to force him to sell something.
Correct.
To get the cash, just to keep it in escrow while the appeal goes through. And she said she actually, whether or not you like Trump, this should really scare everyone. But she actually says she's eyeing 40 Wall Street. If that's not a communist, if that's not a dictator, if that doesn't scare people, and the media, of course, supports her, they think it's great, and they're just giddy over this reaction. I want to play you the clip from MSNBC. Listen to their reaction and how excited they are about communism coming to America. Let me get this clip started.
If he does not have funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek, judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask the judge to seize his assets.
Hi, everyone. It is 5 o'clock here in New York. I'm Alicia Menendez in for Nicole Wallace. And that was New York Attorney General Letitia James putting the disgraced, twice impeached, 4 times indicted ex-president on notice that his pride and joy, his real estate empire, is fair game. Telling ABC News that she will seize those assets if Trump fails to pony up the massive amount of money he must now fork over in the wake of Judge Engoron's decision in the civil fraud trial here in New York. A decision the New York Times described as a, quote, crushing defeat that could cost him all his available cash, a total that, when all is said and done, could exceed $450 million. New York AG Tish James is now saying in no uncertain terms that if Trump cannot pay up, she will not hesitate to move in on Trump's assets. She will seize the buildings that bear his name, and hinting that she's already thinking about where to start.
We are prepared to make sure that the judgment is paid to New Yorkers. And yes, I look at 40 Wall Street each and every day.
She looks at 40 Wall Street, quote, each and every day. Now, imagine you are Donald Trump. You are staring down this massive bill that is coming due. The reality of that warning from New York AG Tish James is sinking in. And you know that if you can't pay up, she's coming for your precious buildings. If you were Donald Trump, you might, understandably, for lack of a better term, be sweating it.
So what do you think about that? Doesn't that make you angry? Just looking at her face, how excited. I don't even know who that girl was, but she was just thrilled about this.
I'm not even sure she has any idea about what opinions or what knowledge she has on her own about the case or the situation at hand. She's put in front of a television screen. The prompter's behind the the camera and she just reads from it. So giddy and so happy. No idea at all about the protections the Constitution provides for American citizens. It's all thrown out the window, and Trump behaved in a way that defrauded banks and insurance companies, Letitia James says. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. They can't name a single, because there is none. They can't name a single bank. They can't name a single institution, a single insurance company that was defrauded, because it didn't happen. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was hurt at all. The bottom line fact of the matter is that if you take out a loan and you don't pay the loan, then everybody in the world knows your collateral is open to be seized. Everybody in the world knows that at 4 o'clock in the morning, some tow truck's going to come and it's going to take your boat or your car or your motorcycle or whatever it is that you didn't pay for or that you defrauded the bank. She wants people to believe that he engaged in that behavior. And now she's going to roll up that tow truck at 4 o'clock in the morning to 40 Wall Street. She wants everybody to see the building. She wants everybody to see the size of the property. She's going to tow that away because that's the collateral that Donald Trump wasn't able to pay for. And it's a lie. He paid off every loan. This is, I used to feel bad for the people that went to MSNBC and CNN for their news because I knew that they were brainwashed. But now I don't feel bad for them anymore because now I know they do it on purpose. Now I know they've made a choice not to distance themselves or take them away from that propaganda machine.